Okay, so welcome everyone to another True Grit live Q&A session. So today is the final instalment in our short series around the Aussie Titles 24-hour Enduro event, which will be held at Dargle Farm just outside of Sydney on March 5th and 6th next year, so 2022. So regos are now live for the event, so you can head to our website, truegrit.com.au, to sign up before the next price rise. So as you know by now, these Q&A sessions are designed for first-timers to Enduro to get a feel for what the event is all about and the chance to pick up some handy tips. So we've been covering a range of topics. So if you want to catch up on past episodes, feel free to head to the Instagram TV section on our Instagram page. So as with previous two sessions, we've also been holding a competition for your chance to win a True Grit merch pack and also a discount voucher for the Enduro registrations. So all you have to do is stay tuned, listen out for a code word, and when you hear that, just head over to our website, truegrit.com.au, to the blog section, find the latest blog on the Enduro event and enter the code word there for your chance to win. So good luck. We've already announced the two winners from the previous two sessions, so one more lucky winner to go. So we've been uncovering some amazing tips over the past few Q&A sessions, and today will be no exception. We're speaking to experienced solo enduro competitor Nikki Sorrell from Switched On Fitness in Victoria. So Nikki has participated in 3 enduros today. She's an experienced obstacle course racer and also a personal trainer. So without further ado, I'll add Nikki into the chat now. And we'll get started very shortly. All right. Hey, Nikki, how you going?
Good, thank you. How are you going?
Yeah, good. I almost wore that singlet, so I'm glad. Otherwise, we would have been
I
matchy.
was trying to message you and go, oh, I saw it, let's twin.
I'm glad we didn't have to. Yeah, all good. Excellent. Cool. So, welcome, Nikki. Please go ahead and start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks so much for having me here today. Wow. Mum of 2, wife, plus a fur baby. I've got a boy and a girl, 14 years old and 11 years old. So that's been an interesting time in the last few years with COVID and lockdowns and all that sort of stuff. But pretty active family. Everyone's into their sports. I've played sports for as long as I can remember. I love getting outdoors. I did my first obstacle race in 2013, and wow, that was a big eye-opener to a whole new world of outdoor activity, and I was hooked instantly, and it's just sort of progressed from there. You know, I started with the shorter distances and then sort of made my way up, and next thing you know, you're doing 24 hours at a time, which is a whole new level of crazy, but I love it. It's so much fun. I love the community. It's what keeps me coming back. So
Yeah,
love it.
awesome. Yeah, nice one. And tell us about your enduro experience. So you've done 3, and when did that start?
So my first one was, I only actually first found out about enduro in 2017. I didn't know about that. I'd sort of done Spartans and Tough Mudders and those sorts of things, and the other smaller ones that are around. And I remember me and a friend going, what is this enduro? We've got to get on board on that. We had total FOMO. We were like watching the socials all weekend going, we are on board. So as soon as tickets went on sale, we signed up, and our first one was 2018. So that was a lot of fun, and I think from reports 2017 was pretty wet. There was spiders coming in and out of tents, and it was flooded, so we probably almost did well to miss out on that as a first experience. But yeah, so 2018 was the first one, which was just amazing. It's just the vibe, the atmosphere, the whole community, you know, camping out for a whole weekend and just running around an obstacle course. It was so much fun. Yeah, again, hooked on that format of an event. Yeah, so came back again in 2019, and then obviously skipped 2020, and did earlier this year in March, which was a different experience doing it at a different time of year as well. So
yeah, sure. Yeah, I can imagine. And you've been a solo competitor each time?
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
I am.
awesome.
It's kind of yes. I'm kind of like to do my own thing. So being in a team format was like sort of not my not what I wanted to go towards. I like to just, you know, have my own plan and go at my own pace. So yeah, solo was definitely a draw card for me.
Yeah, awesome. Fair enough. We've just had a comment from the Burpee Man. 2017 was a nightmare. LOL flood, but still awesome. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess what are your top 3 tips? Let's get straight into it for completing enduro as a solo participant.
I think the first thing you need to decide is if you're going to have a pit crew or not, because that can then determine sort of where your priorities lie. So either or, like it's a personal choice, but that sort of does have a big part in how you'll go about your planning and preparation for the event. But in regards
Sure.
to the actual event, I would say even if you're kind of winging it and it's your first time, I think it's still pretty important to have a bit of a plan, a bit of an action plan and a bit of a goal. So for me, the first time I did it, 24 hours, it's like a massive jump up from anything else that's around. Even like a 12-hour or an ultra with Spartan, 42 to 50 Ks, it's still like 24 hours is a whole new ball game. So having a bit of a plan. For me, my first one was about having fun. I just wanted to go there, experience, get an idea of how it all ran, how I would set up my pit area, what the course layout was like. I did have secondary goals. So my secondary goal was to try and last the whole 24 hours. So if you want to break it down further, and then subsequent to that, I had a distance goal. So
Yep.
different plans, but, being able to achieve one or all three, I think it's important to have a plan and something to work towards, because that will determine, again, your preparation and how you go into it.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Next thing, I would probably look at your gear. Be prepared and be organised. 24 hours is a really long time on course. So even things like nutrition, obviously, everyday nutrition, but when it comes to racing for such a long time, you really get to find out what your body can and can't handle. So a lot of people get, stomach issues or nausea or dehydration. So I know for me, for example, I like real food. I can't just sustain myself on, electrolytes for the whole time. I like to do things like I'll do a soup. I'll do, have my certain protein bars. I love sandwiches. So that, I really have a look at your nutrition and be prepared, and definitely train. Right, so definitely make sure you incorporate that into your training. So, I know some people might just go, I'm just going to go out with electrolytes because I'm just doing 3 or 4 or 5 hours, but you need to really train with the things that you're planning to race with.
Yeah, sure.
And on that training, you need to be prepared and organised in what try and dial that into your goals. So a lot of the preparation and planning for it will come back to what your goals are. If you just have a goal to go there and have fun, then perhaps, doing 12-hour training runs or overnight training runs might not be so important if you're going to have a sleep overnight. But if you're planning to, for example, try and stay on course for the whole 24 hours, you really need to try and have a bit of a game plan around how that might look.
Yeah, awesome. No, I think that's fantastic. So your top three, obviously your goals, which I think is so important for people to have that figured out ahead of time. Nutrition, and then your training, which ties back into your goals. So that's awesome. Yeah, love it. Very, very important. I guess touching on, good segue with that last tip with training. So what sort of training would you recommend that people incorporate when looking to tackle a course solo?
It's a bit of $1 million question, isn't it? It's like, how long is a piece of string?
Yeah. Where would you start? I mean, especially for people so brand new to enduro. Like what sort of, just general tips.
Again, I'd bring it back to, so what's your goal? What's your why? What do you want to get out of it? It's like an investment. You pay for your ticket, you've got your sort of your road trip up there or your logistics getting there. It's a whole weekend. So you put so much time and effort into it. So you want to get the most out of it. So a component of that is training to make sure that you're doing the best that you can to meet your goals. So like it or love it, running's a huge component of it. if you're looking to have a goal of 2 or 3 laps, that's still 20 or 30 Ks, right, plus obstacles. So that's still a really long distance. But if you're training and you want to achieve the 100 kilometers over this 24 hours, then that's really stepping it up another level. So having a good training plan and being able to incorporate running. For me, I absolutely hate running. And I've got, unfortunately, some unfixable knee issues. So that really, that's been tricky with me in the training for running. But, I'll still get out hiking because it's less impact than the running. I do a lot of time on the bike, and I'll do a lot of cross training to try and build that cardio capacity and endurance to cross off that element.
Yeah,
And then,
sure.
of course, strength training and grip training so important. So especially upper body back strength. You've got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
obstacles where you're having to pull your weight up over the walls and up the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to hold your own body weight on things like the rings and the monkey bars. Super, super important. Holding onto a wet, slippery rope. There's nothing worse than losing your grip on that sort of thing. So grip
Yep.
strength and upper body strength for the obstacles is super important and
Mm-hmm.
accessible for everyone. Not everyone has access or the funds to be able to go to a gym or hire a PT or have a coach. If you do,
Mm-hmm.
I would highly suggest having a coach to help you at whatever level you are,
Mm-hmm.
having a bit of a training plan to work towards. But kids' playgrounds these days are just amazing with some of the things that are, and that's free and accessible for everyone. So things like, your monkey
Yep.
bars on every other gym playground. There's all these ninja playgrounds popping up that are accessible to the public. The park
Yep.
runs have their little circuits that you can get on. So I think reaching out to other people that have done it or friends that you can
Yep.
engage to try and, if you need an accountability buddy, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really critical as well. Some people like to train with themselves and have that motivation, but a lot of people don't. So being able to find someone that can keep you accountable or check in with, it doesn't have to be in person, it can be virtual. I think everyone's getting used to a bit more virtual stuff and checking in and that sort of thing. So for
Definitely.
me, I love that. I love having someone go, right, we're doing a run this weekend, or even though we can't catch up because we live 2 hours away, we're going to go and do our strength training or do this circuit or whatever it is.
Yep.
I think, yeah, that's big things. For females in particular, regardless of your level, I think if, for me, a big part of my training is working around my menstrual cycle. So females
Mm-hmm.
have, hormones at different levels throughout the month, and learning about how my body reacts at different stages throughout the month has actually been critical for my training, and
Yeah,
working with
same.
it instead of against it, and not thinking it's this big burden, but actually going, right, at certain times of the month I'm super strong and feel great and can
Mm-hmm.
smash out my strength training. At other times of the month I'm really more work on my endurance, or other times
Mm-hmm.
I know that I need to dial it back, work on my recovery. That'll be my deload week. So
Okay.
for females around that and hormones, I think that's a really, really important thing to learn about yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
then of
Mm-hmm.
course it's juggling juggling that all in with kids, family, work, social,
Yeah.
all of that sort of stuff. But for me, my training and my movement is a really, really important part of my life, and my kids are a little bit older, so it's a little bit easier for me. But making it a priority, whatever your level of training is, I think making that a priority, like it's an appointment,
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
keeping consistent. So if you sort of,
Yeah.
commit to it and keep consistent, then it's easy to stick to it, and then you start to see the rewards. You start to see the increase in strength, or you're like, oh, I can go a bit longer on that run, or I just smashed
Yeah.
a PB. Like, yeah, consistency will keep you rolling along and work towards your goals. So
Yeah, awesome.
yeah,
And I really like what you said. I mean, at the beginning, it is an investment, not just a monetary investment, but a time investment,
yeah,
to get up there for the actual weekend, but then obviously all of the training towards it as well. So I think once people commit with by registering and then putting a plan together,
yeah,
you're then on your journey and you've just got to go for it. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think it's important to
That's
commit
definitely. And no,
and
sorry, I was going to
also
say, and I totally agree with that. Committing and buying your ticket and committing, and not just doing a bit of training, going, oh, that's kind of around that time. Yeah, I might do it.
yeah.
Commit. Buy a ticket first up, and then you're like, right, I've got this goal. This is what I want to do, and then you
Yeah,
plan to work towards it.
your plan all sets around that. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. And I really like the idea of having an accountability buddy.
yeah,
I'm super competitive, so I know that if someone, I've got someone there that knows, okay, and if I know that they've gone out and done, 20K run or something on the weekend, I'm like, geez, I've got to do that as well.
yeah,
So,
totally,
yeah,
definitely.
you got to find what works for you. I get that, but yeah, for me, that
Yeah,
definitely helps.
yeah,
um,
really, really does help.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so any tips around the mental side of things? So obviously being a 24-hour event, that's not just the physical side of things, it's the mental side of things as well, and in particular for solo competitors, because, you're out there by yourself, you don't necessarily
Yeah.
have the team aspect of getting back to the team members and pushing through for that. So when do things typically start to get tough? How do you keep pushing? What's your advice around the mental side of things?
Again, I'll come back. It's why are you doing this, right? If your
Yeah.
reason, for me, my first year, it was to have fun, right? So I just made it as fun as possible. I went out with, right, I'm just going to make the most of this. I'm going to tackle each obstacle and each lap around. I'm going, right, I did that time. I could probably do it a little bit better. I'm going to work on trying to improve myself each lap. Make it, if you're going for fun, make it social. Get someone else to sign up with you and you can do it together. The amount of strangers that you'll end up talking to throughout the 24 hours is
Yeah.
awesome. Like, you'll meet so many people.
Yeah.
That's if you're making it fun. If it's a first experience and you don't really have other bigger goals that you're working towards, you can still incorporate the fun aspect. But then on the flip side of that, if you've got a lap time that you want to stick to or a certain amount of distance that you want to obtain, you got to have a plan. You've got to break it down. And when you're out there at 3 a.m. in the morning and it's cold and it's wet and you're muddy and you run out of water and you're really starving hungry and you just want to lie down on the side of the track and have a nap, you're like, why am I doing this? You will probably ask yourself that many times throughout it. I think you've just got to keep remembering why did I sign up? Why did I want to do this? Why do I want to reach a certain goal or laps? What does that mean to me? And so just keep asking yourself, what's your why? What's your driving factor? It might be, you promised a mate you'd do this, or, you've got kids at home that you look up to you and are, you're a role model for them. So you're like, I want to do it for them. Or, finding a why is really important, because at those dark times, especially overnight, from sort of 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. through to, before sunrise, it certainly can be really lonely. There are a lot of people that do take naps through that time. You can't see the competitors out on course. The noise does tend to come down, even if there are people out and about. There's not as much noise going on. So it can feel pretty lonely. So I think finding that why, having that reason to keep pushing yourself is really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, bang on. So nutrition, that's another big one for people. We touched on it before. What would you recommend in terms of nutrition throughout the event?
Again, definitely test things out in your training. So, what you might eat throughout the week is not necessarily what you're going to be eating for an endurance event. So, I said not for me. Electrolytes really important, obviously, to keep hydrated, and the salt and all the minerals that are in electrolytes. But I need real food. So my staple throughout enduro is pumpkin and sweet potato soup. I love it. It's basic.
Okay.
It's very, very basic, but I'll heat that up before we start, have it in a thermos, and I'll have, a few big mouthfuls of that each round. I love sandwiches, honey and Vegemite, not together, separate. Honey and Vegemite are my go-to sandwiches, on a bit of white bread with some butter, some nice things that I can sort of eat. I'll smash that down while I'm quickly restocking my pack before I head back out. And then when I'm out and about, I don't tend to eat too much. I might have some protein balls that I'll snack on, or I like the squeezy baby foods. Really easy to digest, a little hit of sugar, and they don't have heaps of added nasties, so it's just really easy for the body to digest. So, when your body's under a lot of stress when you do endurance events, whether you feel stressed or not, your body's going through an intense amount of stress. So your digestive system takes up a lot of energy, right? So you want things that can go down easily, that your body can absorb and utilize really quite quickly. So it's not the time to be, eating a curry in bed and that sort of thing. So you want things that you can digest easily, and that will keep you well fueled. I also and I got this tip from a fellow endurance athlete, fruit tingles.
Okay.
A lot of people like salt tablets and stuff like that, but fruit tingles, so they've got, they're nice, you just suck on them, so get your salt intake through that. So they're nice to suck on as well as you go around. I've sort of moved away from gels and energy gels and cubes and that sort of thing. So I like real food.
Okay, awesome. And you obviously have that all prepared beforehand. We'll talk about pit crew in a minute, but you have that all prepared pre-event, and then you just bring that along and you're just grabbing that as you go through the pits. When you're
Yep.
out and about on the course, do you have like a little backpack with you, or I mean, or do you just have like, you know, things in a run belt,
A little
or
bit. Yeah, I do like to race with a pack, only because I like to drink to thirst. I know there is water stations out on course, but I don't,
yeah,
you know, sometimes I don't feel like a drink at that particular time. So I like to carry
yeah,
a hydro pack, and I won't fill it. I'll have enough to sustain me for a lap, depending on the weather as well,
yeah,
especially if it's warmer, which it will be in March.
yeah,
Hydration is critical. Even if you don't feel like drinking, you've got to make sure you're having a certain amount of fluid intake each
mm-hmm,
lap or each hour, whatever it is, to
mm-hmm,
make sure you're rehydrating, because you just, regardless if you're physically sweating, you are losing a lot of fluid. So keeping hydrated is really important. So yes, I definitely carry a pack. I always
yeah,
like to have a few snacks just in case.
yeah,
Oh, and
okay.
the other thing I forgot with pit food, noodles. Noodles are the best.
Hey.
Noodle cups, they
Yeah,
are definitely a favourite.
yeah,
Always
nice.
have one of
Yeah.
them early hours of the morning. It'll keep, even in March, it was still quite cool overnight. It was cool enough. So
Oh,
yeah, having something warm and
yeah,
get the noodle cups in, they're brilliant. A lot of salt in there. Get the salts back in.
yeah, for
Easy to
sure.
digest as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, nice one. Good tips. I guess that sort of goes into now sleep and rest. So
Yeah,
especially for a solo competitor, what does that look like for you? I know it's going to be different for everyone, but how
yeah,
does that look like for you, and what do you recommend?
yeah. That is a really interesting one. And I think again, a big part of that will come down to what your goal is and
Hmm.
your training. So, you know, most people aren't really going to be training for, simulating a 24-hour event before they rock up there. So, you might do a
Yeah.
few overnights or some 12 hours. Um, but I think getting used to a bit of sleep deprivation.
Hmm.
For me, I'm one of those people. I'm a bit of a night owl. I'm an energizer bunny. So I'm kind of one of one of those people that will just go, 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 go. I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a mum thing or it's just the way I am, but I don't stop until everything's finished. And if that's a
Yeah.
24-hour event, then I don't stop until it's done. So for me, I know that I can go that whole 24 hours. It doesn't mean I'm going to be fast, but I'm not going to stop. I will just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you've also
Yeah.
got to take into account, a lot of people are road tripping. So there might be a lot of people driving from interstate. So your day or two
Yeah.
before that, you're going to be, 8, 6, 8, 10, 12 hours in the car. You've got to set
Yeah.
up your pit area the day before. So you're already coming into the event more than likely a little bit sleep deprived.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
being able to
Good
know
point.
your limits and if you're going to need to rest or not. So that's
Hmm.
definitely a big part of the plan and strategy going in. If you
Yeah.
do feel like you're going to need to rest, how are you going to do that? You know, for
Hmm.
me, I take, and I haven't had to use it, but I've got a little camp stretcher that just folds out like a camp chair. So I can lie
Hmm.
down on that. Other people have like seated arrangements that really lay back. So if you
Yeah.
if you think
Okay.
you're going to need to sleep, you're going to need to be able to set up an area where you can lie down and rest. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, that's really, really important. And you don't necessarily have to be snoozing for hours at a time. A 15 to 20-minute power nap can save your life, like the whole on the road thing. Like 15 or 20 minutes having a power nap is
Yep.
enough to recharge you to get up and get
Hmm.
going.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you've got to want to get up and keep going. not
Yeah.
get
That's it.
not get stuck in that trap of, oh, it's so cozy in my sleeping bag.
Yeah.
That could be
Yeah.
a big trap
Definitely.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's when it comes down to the individual, isn't it? Whether, I mean, I
Yeah,
know that I'm not good after a nap, and I would just need to just keep going, keep going.
yeah,
But
yeah.
other
That's
people would
that's
be,
me as well. Yeah,
yeah, other people would be charging afterwards. So,
yeah,
yeah, interesting. All right, and I guess just touching on pit crew as well, just
yeah.
to finish up. So, what advice would you give competitors to pass on to their pit crew? Um,
Think you need someone that you can work with, that you've got to make sure you talk about what your plans and goals are beforehand, and try and think of some scenarios that you might come across. So I think a big one is a pit crew that can boss you around and you won't take offense to.
yeah.
They're kind of there to tell you what to do, especially as, you're coming in the early hours of the morning, you're starting to really get fatigued. It might be 2 a.m., you've done 12 hours, you've got so many laps under your belt, but your goal is, another 3, 4 laps or whatever it is. that person is super important to keep you on track. They're like, right, you were too long that time. You need to keep this lap to under this amount of time. So being on the same page, having someone that can really help guide you and stick to your plan, it's super important. Again, comes back to being organised and how you set up your pit area. Really, really important. They'll be, they'll need to know what you're going to need coming into pit, and that might be you telling them before you head out on your previous lap, right, I think I'll run out of this, I want this, this and this next time. So talking about the staples that you'll want each lap, having everything ready to go, and so that when you come in you're like, nah, don't feel like that, oh no, I need some chips right now, or no, I'm after another noodle cup next lap. So having them being really super organised, and probably someone that can handle a few choice words in the early hours of the morning when you don't want to get back up again. That won't take offense, but that can, push you back out the tent door. Someone that you can communicate really well, and that that you work well as a team.
Yeah, sure. I was going to say, like any good relationship, it sounds like communication is key.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so important. Someone that's going to ask the right questions. How are you feeling? No, how are you really feeling? How are you feeling? Can you keep on your feet? Yeah, good, go. You don't need to stay here. No, you need to sit down. You've got enough in your pack. Keep going. So someone that kind of has a bit of experience in the obstacle racing world would help. Not obviously essential, but someone that knows you as a person and that can know where your limits lie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds really important. I guess finally, what about competitors that maybe don't have a pit crew? Any advice for them?
Yeah, so that's been me all 3 years that I've done it. I had a mate each year that we went into, and we worked well together. We worked well as a team. So we nailed our setup. We had everything laid out. So I think being super organised, having everything accessible. So things like, the ground's going to be wet. You want, the rain might start coming in while you're out on a lap. So you want everything to maybe be in tubs, for example. But having it accessible and laid out if you're doing solo pit crew is really, really important. Even to the point of, say, for example, your goal is 5 laps, then having separate Ziploc bags with a variety of things for every single lap, and not just pulling out of a tub going, doesn't matter if you get to lap 3 and you haven't used anything of it, you're up to lap 4, you go to your lap 4 bag. So you're having things really, really organised. Things like if you've got 2 hydro packs, I'll hang one on a coat hanger up so that I can switch it out each time and it's easy. Having your gear laid out in separate, easy to access piles, shoes over here, change of socks, having everything really clearly laid out and accessible. There's nothing worse than coming in at, 4 o'clock in the morning, you've just been through the mud pit and you've got to change your socks and shoes, but you've got to trample through everything to get to it. So thinking about if you do come into your pit area and it's stupid o'clock and you're wet and muddy and you've got to change, like, how have I set my pit up? Like, how am I going to change? Where's, having the least, not flinging mud all over your food and that sort of thing. So having a really good think about how you set up your tent is really, really important.
Yeah, okay. And it comes back to that planning. It seems to be the overarching sort of theme of this session is that being planned, planning and organised is really important.
Yeah. That is, you can spend a lot of time and get lost in pit if you are not organised. You'll be like, oh, where did I put that? Where did I put that? Where did I put that? So, having lists will be your friends. If you, a checklist before you go to, I've got all my gear, checklist for each lap, what you need, or, taking a whiteboard and writing as you go, especially if you want to track your time and stuff like that. Yeah, having notepad, paper, whiteboard. I've found that really super helpful in the past.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, nice one. Okay.
You will find if you're by yourself, you'll get pit people that will jump on board. Oh, you're by yourself. Come on, I'll get your noodles ready. I'll do this for you next lap. What do you need? They're always every year there will be people that will just jump in and help people that don't have pit crew. So, and that's one of the most amazing things about it. Every time I've been, everyone just jumps in and wants to help. And it's even setting up to start with. It's like, oh, we're set up. You haven't got your tent up yet. Let's get that up. So the community aspect of it, even if you're going by yourself and you don't have a pit crew, you will make friends. You will have people that will help you. Like, everyone's just amazing and jumps in and wants to help out. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, so
makes it so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I really felt that at the event this year. It was just,
Yeah,
yeah, the community is really, really awesome. It's amazing.
yeah.
We just had a comment from Osmark. Osmark, where he said, yes, my best performances have been when my pit crew wouldn't let me get comfortable in the pit.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we were aiming for 20 minutes, and suddenly half an hour has just flown by
Oh
like that.
wow!
So, Nikki, thanks so much. Those tips have been, yeah, so fantastic.
Thank you for
And I
having
really
me.
think, yeah, you're so welcome. I really think anyone that's looking to take on Enduro solo would have picked up some amazing tips there. So, thank you so much.
No worries.
So I'll just mention that don't forget to enter our competition for your last chance to win a True Grit merch pack and Enduro discount voucher. So the code word is noodles. There you go. So enter that over on our website. So registrations are live. You can sign up for the event, truegrit.com.au. Nikki, I think you've got a code that people can use. So a little bonus for people that listen into this Instagram TV, if they enter Nikki22, they'll get 10% off their race entry. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
So also during registration, just so people know that you can get your ticket, you can also add your pit crew passes at that time. And also if you're coming from interstate, if you're flying in and not driving up and you don't want to bring all the gear, you also have the option to add a 2 or 3 person tent onto your booking. So keep that in mind. The tents are already all set up. They come with camp beds. So you move straight on in and then they get taken down at the end of the event for you. So that can be a handy option for people who aren't necessarily aware of it. So yeah, that's it for our Enduro Live Q&A series. So thanks again, Nikki. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you've got any more questions, please just send us an email, support@truegrit.com.au. We'd be really happy to answer those. So yeah, we look forward to seeing everyone at the event in March. So thanks
Yes,
again,
okay.
and we'll see you later.
Thanks so much, Courtney.
No worries. See you.
See you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye bye.
Bye.